Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Thing, taking another round of Comic Corner. And today we've got, well, just another two books. It was very, very weird. So there were like four books that came out that I read, and really two of them didn't do it for me. Just didn't do it for me. Was not worth the time. So yeah, we just trimmed it down to these two here. So we have Batman 128, continuing the Failsafe story, and oh, um, when it rains, it pours. That's all I'm going to say. When it rains, it pours. All right, so when we last left off, Batman had adopted the persona of Zur-En-Arr to help take down Failsafe, this creation of Batman that was designed to take down Batman should he go rogue, or in this case, kill someone. So, where do we go from now? So, Failsafe has come in, Zur-En-Arr has taken over as the dominant persona, but that's not working because it turns out Failsafe was designed by Zur-En-Arr, but also Zur-En-Arr doesn't remember how to take out Failsafe because by default, Zur-En-Arr made him forget. So, however he made him forget, shouldn't that be how he remembers it? I don't know. But then again, he probably doesn't remember how he forgot. So anyway. Superman then shows up to help out, and Batman's like, this probably isn't going to work, because by default, he's going to have an answer to things that would help stop him from killing Batman, or whatever to Batman. And of course, Failsafe whips out kryptonite from somewhere. Alright, it's like in the limbs, he's got the kryptonite blades. And yeah, it goes quick. He gets the good old stabbing of Superman, and Green Arrow comes in trying to buy time, and Martian Manhunter comes in. Like, the whole league is coming here to help Superman and Batman from Failsafe, and it goes about as well as you would think. Batman realizing that this is really bad, so he gets the kryptonite out of Superman. Okay, so we're gonna patch him up because it's in there. He still has the radioactive infection. So we gotta go. So Green Arrow comes in. We've got to get Superman to a hospital. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 hospitals on the planet that can deal with what his problem is, because his skin will heal over that kryptonite and over that kryptonite infection, so it'll still be there. So Green Arrow is like, get in the Justice League plane. It's got an autopilot. You'll be fine. And so Batman tells Tim, like, look, just go to the southeast. We'll go to the Fortress of Solitude. Best place there. Meanwhile, the rest of the league engages with Failsafe, and it goes about as well as you would think. And even when they all go together, Failsafe is able to bring them to this part of Gotham City where there's like this metal or this magnet that pulls the Nth Metal and Hawkgirl's wings to the wall. There's flamethrowers for Martian Manhunter. When Black Canary does her cry, she's basically muzzled. And that's when Barbara realizes, didn't Bruce own this block of the city? And you realize that this whole part of the city is set to take out the Justice League. It's kind of messed up. Because it means Failsafe knew about these plans, or at the very least, created these plans himself. Like, he's always sort of been online and one from another and has set this up. And as you just take out the league, Nightwing's like, all right, so that's his plan for Martian Manhunter. Oh, Green Arrow's like, so that's his plan for Martian Manhunter. That's his plan for Hawkgirl. What's his plan for, me and Green Arrow? And Phil just goes, these hands. And he goes after him. And it's kind of messed up. But also notice who's not here. We'll get to that in a second. So, Bruce realizing that, hey, Failsafe is going to come after him. It's not really after the Justice League. So if he goes off somewhere, then they'll be able to get Superman the help he needs. So he tells Tim, like, look, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the person you've become, of the Robin you've become, the man you've become. Don't worry about me. Just go make sure that Superman's all right. And he falls down in the ocean. He's like, I know he's out here somewhere. Aquaman comes in. And Aquaman and Atlantean tech and sea creatures, patch him up. And he's like, well, so you've been out for about 2 weeks, and Gotham has fallen. Oh yeah, Failsafe's taken over. It's a whole disaster. Like, he's one step ahead of anyone who tries to get him. He's created like robotic minions that patrol the city, like Barbara Gordon strapped to like a machine, and Duke and Cass, maybe a few other people, like, hiding underground, trying to form a resistance. They've gone underground to form an underground resistance. And it's one of my favorite lines from the Angry Beavers. And yeah, he's put out this bat signal to let you know that Gotham City is his, and he's daring you to come and take it from him. And that's how the comic ends. So I like Failsafe. I do. Actually, Failsafe doesn't really have much of a personality. I like just this level of planning because it does highlight something about Batman. Not just his paranoia, but how competent he is at designing these situations for him to win. So we saw this before with Scott Snyder in Batman Endgame, where he had like this Justice Buster suit, which is designed to incapacitate the League. And these same plans from Failsafe, or presumably Batman, also are designed to incapacitate the League. Nothing seems really there to kill, just if anything, wound or subdue. Presumably, Martian Manhunter might disagree. But this also sort of shows what Bruce said in the Tower of Babel in Justice League Doom, that it was a total lie. Like, it was a total lie. Superman acts like, who stops you? Well, it's simple. The Justice League. So, the team, the superheroes that you've already shown that you know how to defeat, are going to defeat you if you go rogue. I technically get what he's saying, is that ultimately, if the Justice League is serious, if Superman's serious, there's nothing that Batman can do. That is true. But the problem is, Batman knows this. Batman knows that he's going to straight up fight with any of those people, he will lose. So he's like, I'm not going to play this game by your rules. The whole point of Failsafe's entire plan is to change the rules of the engagement. He draws them to a location of his choosing where he has the advantages. And so he dismantles the superpower members of the Justice League. Anyone with unique powers that Batman can't conceivably acquire, he has them neutralized outside. But think of who else is not here. Now, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, he's got a couple plans for Green Lantern. He does. Fear Toxin, break his finger, like, depending on the story. Or if you go by Jeff Johns' take on Justice League 52, Batman can just, like, take the ring off their finger. It's weird that Johns decided to do that, but whatever. But also who's not here is Wonder Woman. Now, that's interesting because Wonder Woman has no actual weakness to exploit. Martian Manhunter's weak to fire, Superman's weak to kryptonite, Hawk Girl, you magnetize and pull the nth metal, so she's stuck. Black Canary, the muzzle. Nightwing and Green Arrow, these hands. But Wonder Woman doesn't have a weakness to exploit, so she's not in this book. Usually the out is tricking her mind. Or that's actually kind of it. And hopefully at some point either she'll go off somewhere fighting an enemy somewhere else, or her heart will give out. It's kind of weird that's the plan, but so far it's worked. Overall, though, this was fun. I'm trying to see how Batman's going to get out of this. Magic might be an out, or he might just call Wonder Woman. I don't quite know where Zdarsky's going to go with this. All I know is this was fun. This was fun and hilarious. Next is Dark Crisis issue 5. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. A story that is still kind of a very lackluster crisis event. So this story picks up, well, again, where we left off, with, Black Adam meeting the Legion of Doom, being possessed by the Great Darkness, and he's been bailed out by a combined effort of Aqualad, I think he's Aquaman by this point, Supergirl, Mr. Terrific, and the character from the Age of Heroes initiative, Sideways. And they like, look, we gotta go. Look, just get in. I get it. The Legion of Doom done got doomed. All right, let's go. And it's like, so. Not was like, so. How'd it go? Oh, it didn't work. Oh, crazy. Who'd have thought that a guy that recruits people to his army of darkness would go after the Legion of Doom? And the problem is, like, the more people he recruits, the more people the Great Darkness recruits, the stronger it gets. And so Nightwing was like, we don't have a choice. All right, so fine. Oracle put out a call, called everybody we know, everybody we don't know, and some of the people we don't want to know. All right? Deathstroke wants a fight. We'll give it to him. And to be fair, Nightwing versus Deathstroke is, I think, a more fun idea than Batman versus Deathstroke, just because he and Deathstroke as a Teen Titan have that history. But whatever. It's sort of appropriate if this is the direction the story wants to go. But we see a problem with this event in that it doesn't quite know how to devote as much time as it wants to these other stories. Meanwhile, in Batman's ideal Earth, which is still him being Batman and, whatever, he engages with the Flash, and Hal Jordan, oh hey, I can force my ring onto my finger through sheer will, and he helps Batman remember his family, which implies his family doesn't exist in this Earth, which is kind of weird and disconcerting. Like, I don't think that's who he is. But anyway. So, meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, the teen Nightwing's getting ready to gather everyone together. Everyone's coming in. Um, what is that? Captain Atom, Firestorm. Is that Vixen? Oh, Vixen's here. That I think it's, is that Crush? That's Crush. Oh no, it's the fat kid from Titans Academy. Oh, he was also, I think, the fat kid also in Damien's Teen Titans. But there anyone going in, and people from Titans Academy are here to help out because the Titans Tower was our home. They want to stand with him. Even Garfield slash Beast Boy, is he still kind of cyborg? Is there? Well, no, it's still just Gar. And he's like, yeah, I'm here, and I'm here to help too. And for some reason, Alan Scott's like, you know what? Seems like you got it. Good luck. We have faith in you. I'm like, what's the JSA doing that says they can't get involved? That'd be so cool, though. Like the old generation and the new generation teaming up to take out the corruption of the middle generation. You know, we're not going to do that? Okay. Meanwhile, John comes in with like, hey, well, the Great Darkness is controlling Pariah. We found this out in a story that was very very dull. One of the other two comics that were read, which is just basically Swamp Thing, Superboy, I'm sorry, Swamp Thing, Superman, Raven, and Constantine go to this place to figure out where this darkness, what's found this spear of darkness, and it would have been an interesting story to see everyone sort of be confronted with their darkness and their identity crisis as Raven helps them, but it just kind of flat. A lot of talking, very little showing. But ultimately, what they found is the original machine that Pariah built on his will that triggered the destruction of the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. Well, the trigger the original Infinite Earths. And like, okay, Miss Red, like, okay, I'm the third smartest man on the planet. I can work with this. And Superboy goes like, hey, dude, I've been there. It's bad, real bad. Damon's like, I've been here this entire story. I know. My dad also died. So he looks at Dr. Light. Are you good with the scalpel? She's like, I'm not that kind of doctor. Like, details, come with me. And so Damien has his own story, so kill. And then the Flash comes like, dude, they're here. They're here. And everyone's like, let's go. And Diamond's like, well, let's go. And Black Adam's like, stop right there. You have no idea what you're getting into. I have seen what the Great Darkness has done. I've seen what this darkness inflicts too many times. This battle is lost. All right? You are not the Justice League. And Diamond just turns around and goes, we never were. We're the Teen Titans, and Captain Atom, and Supergirl, and Superman, John Kent, and a bunch of people who were never Teen Titans. And the back of the Justice League International? Okay, whatever. Like, it's sort of weird that it's like, we're the Titans, but was this really built up? Was it? I don't know. I don't think so. Even Frankenstein's here, and Wonder Woman's here. The Yara Flora Wonder Woman. Like, this is not really just the Titans. But whatever. Okay, it's led by the Titans. Meanwhile, on Superman's Dream Earth, he's like, hey, I know you're here, but I've known this is a dream world from the beginning. Because, well, remember that whole story of the man who has everything? Written by Alan Moore? I went through the same thing. An ideal world. Then I realized it's fake. So this is nothing new to me. I've just been waiting for you guys to get here. I'm like, wait, this doesn't quite work. I think this would have worked better if we sort of structured how the breakouts of these different dream worlds happen. Like, as each of them breaks out, the whole dream world gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And ultimately, Superman probably would have the strongest one because he's Superman, is the one who finally is able to break out. Like, he knows it's fake, but he can't get out. So he's like, I just have to trust my friends to be able to see through too. Yeah, I don't quite get it. I don't get it. One cool line is that when Hal points out that Superman is surprisingly calm, Batman goes, it's because he's angry. When he's really calm, it's because he's really angry. I'm like, that is a good nod, show friends there. But, you know, and Superman is kind of like, Pariah thought he could keep me trapped, giving me a happily ever after with my family. He thought that would be enough. but it's still a world without a Justice League. I'm like, well, okay, so as much as I hate to give credit to Tom King here, Tom King brought up a good point that Superman likes to be, well, Clark likes to be Superman, but he hates that he has to be Superman. He even himself in Infinite Crisis pointed out a perfect world doesn't need a Superman. So if this world's perfect, he would not be surprised there's not a Justice League. A perfect world doesn't need superheroes. So, whatever. Okay, sure. This is a cool image, though. I love it. I love it. So anyway, they're all free, like, let's go. And this is another flaw with this issue. So if you recall, we've been going over the trapped in the dark multiverse and the dark crisis thing with the superheroes. Green Arrows hasn't come out yet. It's set to come out this month, but it's not out yet. So we know Green Arrow's free. But it's just like, why didn't we just switch the dates around? I don't know. This is a poorly planned event. That's all I'm saying. It's not badly written, but it's still poorly released. So anyway, Pariah's like, you know what? It's too late. It's far from over. I killed you, and your very existence is tied to these new Earths created in your image. If these worlds die, then I hate to tell you this, you die. I'm like, okay, I don't quite get how that works, but who am I? Who am I to argue how DC handles its cosmology, infinite continuity, multiverse Earths? But anyway. So the Titans are getting overwhelmed because there are more bad guys that have been corrupted than there are Titans, and other people who were never Titans. But anyway. He says, like, soon my curse will be lifted and I can know happiness again. This is all what Pariah wants. He wants his Earth back. He wants his happy world back. And he's willing to destroy anything for it. This feels like a very weak attempt at commentary. And I think Josh Williamson's better than this. But anyway, we keep going, and John realizes, oh crap, we're too late. Like, yep. Pariah goes, yep, my hopes have been finally answered. The crisis calls me. What happiness next is on you? What happens next is on you, Justice League. And Pariah goes off because he's happy. The Infinite Earths have returned. So his job is done. He has to now just go reap his benefits. But anyway, Pariah goes off, and it's done. The true darkness is here. And that's how the comic ends. So, let's unpack this crisis event and where we sort of fall apart here. The Teen Titans storyline is very underdone, and we just sort of had the JSA to be the JSA. Like, by default, the Titans being fractured after the loss of the Justice League makes sense, at the same time not sense. But Nightwing really should have been the one to pull the Titans together, like, hey, we have to step up. This is time. We can't just be the Titans Academy. We have to essentially take the place of the Justice League. Maybe not be the Justice League proper, but we have to be the ones to, lead the forefront. All right, that's not just happen. Now we're like, nah, we're fine. A bunch of scattered heroes will totally be able to do this. Nightwing knows better, all right? Remember, there was a time when he was Batman, when he had the exact same thought, like, you know what, the world doesn't need a Batman, Gotham City doesn't need a Batman, we'll all be fine as we are, and he was wrong, he was forced to take that mantle. So now Nightwing's doubting himself, and then the JSA comes like, nah, dude, you're fine, you got this. And they come in, they show how it's done. I'm like, okay, that's a good idea too, but then the JSA becomes a non-entity, and it's sort of like, hey, Dick Grayson's ready to take things seriously. Bye. I'm like, well, no, that's still the wrong way to go about this. And then we have all these other stories, these other heroes being trapped in their perfect worlds, all of it resolved in one issue. And nothing seems to come anywhere from that. Like, it doesn't really seem to have an impact on the main story. The fact that Barry was freed from his Earth, totally in a story that no one knew about, unless you were reading The Flash, to me is a problem. And I think of Infinite Crisis, and the reason I bring that up so much is because that was the first Crisis event I read. It wasn't the first Crisis I was there for. This is technically my first Crisis event that I'm here for. But I've read Final Crisis, Infinite Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Crisis in Time. So I've read them. It's been a while since I've read Crisis in Time and Crisis on Infinite Earths. I should read them again. But I always remembered Infinite Crisis because there was so much going on, but everything made sense. We had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in different headspaces trying to come to terms with what's going on with them. We had a world falling apart and a bunch of other different storylines that had come together. The problem with this story is that all the characters involved are just kind of there dealing with it. So it's their problem because, well, it's the death of something, but at the same time, no one has a reason for being. No one has an emotional investment outside of the same. Well, if it goes, we die. So it feels kind of lackluster. But at the same time, I don't know. It feels like if we need to be built up better from the beginning, and that's not a dig at Infinite Frontier, which was pretty much almost like a countdown to Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was fine, but the state of the DC universe was still not in any real sense of stability after the events of Death Metal. So really, we had a crisis event after a pseudo crisis event, which really came after another pseudo crisis event, Doomsday Clock, which essentially came in the middle of another pseudo crisis event in Dark Knight's Metal. We've had a lot of faux crisis events, but none of them felt like it was building to anything. Like, how does this play anything into what happened to lead to it? I don't understand. Like, Josh Williamson and Scott Snyder Josh should have called Scott like, hey, I want to continue this. DC's got me doing a crisis event. I want to know if you have any ideas coming out of Death Metal that I could use to help with Dark Crisis Event, so do this one. But no, for one reason or another, we just didn't go that route. And, I don't know what happened. But it felt like this is a story I'm going to have to read in its entirety after it's done. Because there's two different ways. You can get two different responses depending on how you read a comic event. Or you can either get it as you're reading it, as it comes out with these months implied, or you can read it in its entirety with its tie-ins and whatnot, and you might see a more cohesive story, or at least get a better understanding of what the writer is trying to do. The problem is, Williamson is not the only writer on this. So we have that slight problem too. But by that logic, he should still be like, hey, this is what we're trying to do here. This is the direction we need to go here. This character has to be here. This is the state I need the DC Universe in. But it doesn't quite feel like that cohesiveness is there. But otherwise, it's all right. But we still have 2 more issues to go, so who knows? And of course, we've got that Green Arrow one, and Damian apparently has one coming up soon, so who knows? So anyway, with that in mind, this brings me to a close here. If you are new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some of my videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.